You are lying awake at 3 in the morning staring at the glowing screen of your phone until your eyes burn. You just sent a text message 4 hours ago that you spent 20 minutes crafting that was perfect. It was witty and thoughtful, and it referenced that obscure band she mentioned she liked 2 weeks ago. But the screen remains dark and the silence in your bedroom is so loud it feels heavy. You know she has seen it because you watched her post a story on Instagram of her laughing with her friends at a bar. You know she is holding her phone in her hand right now. But she has made a conscious decision not to reply to you because you are not a priority. This is the crushing and silent reality for millions of men in the 21st century. You feel like you are screaming at the top of your lungs from behind a wall of soundproof glass. You have been raised on a steady diet of movies and books that told you a comforting lie. They told you that if you were kind and loyal and talented and funny, that you would eventually win the girl. They told you that looks were superficial and that true love was about two souls connecting in the dark. But reality is hitting you in the face with a brutal data point that you can no longer ignore. Nobody cares about your beautiful soul if they cannot get past the gatekeeper of your face. You watch from the sidelines as guys who treat women poorly get all the attention. You see men who have the personality of a wet cardboard box getting the dates and the replies and the second chances. You start to feel a toxic mixture of resentment and confusion bubbling in your chest like acid. You wonder if you are just destined to be the spectator in the game of love. You are the nice guy who gets the speech about being a great friend, while the other guy gets the invite to come over late at night. This is what I call the invisible man syndrome. It is the sinking feeling that you are offering pure gold, but nobody will even stop to pick it up because it is wrapped in plain brown paper. Social media and the modern dating market have accelerated this brutal sorting process to a terrifying speed. Imagine a scenario where a girl goes to brunch with her 3 best friends on a Sunday morning. She tells them with a shy smile that she has met someone new and she thinks she might like him. The very first question out of their mouths is never, is he kind or does he treat you well? The first question is always, what does he look like? It is a primal and visual inquiry that demands an immediate answer. If you are average looking or below average, you become a source of embarrassment before you even open your mouth. She might like your jokes and she might enjoy your company in private, but she knows deep down that she cannot show you off on her social media feed without getting silent judgment. She knows her friends will look at your picture and say a polite "oh, that is nice" with a flat tone that screams disappointment. So she keeps you in the shadows, or she slowly ghosts you to save face. You are fighting a war where the enemy has air superiority and you are stuck in the trenches with a pocket knife. You try to compensate for your lack of visual capital by being extra nice. You send the good morning texts every single day and you buy her thoughtful gifts that show you listen. You offer to listen to her problems for hours and you become her emotional sponge. But instead of making her fall in love, this actually repels her. Because when she is not physically attracted to you, your kindness does not feel like affection. It feels like a debt she does not want to pay. It feels like a piece of sticky gum on the bottom of her expensive shoe that she cannot shake off. Your persistence is not seen as romantic devotion or loyalty. It is seen as creepy desperation that makes her skin crawl. Meanwhile, the attractive guy sends a dry one-word text that says "hi" and she reads it as mysterious and cool. He buys her a cheap milk tea from the corner store and she posts a photo of it with a heart emoji. You buy her a hand-bound edition of her favorite book and it ends up in the donation pile a month later. You are playing a rigged game where the rules change entirely depending on your bone structure. The worst part is that society gaslights you into thinking this is all in your head. People tell you to just be confident or to work on your personality or to just be yourself. But you know that confidence without looks is just labeled as arrogance or delusion. You know that personality is a luxury that only gets discovered after the visual test is passed. There is a specific psychological filter in the human brain that scans your face in milliseconds. If you do not pass that first scan, the door to your personality is slammed shut and locked and bolted. You could be the funniest man alive and you could be the next Einstein. But you will never get the chance to tell the joke or explain the theory because she has already swiped left in her mind. This is not just about her being shallow or mean. This is about a world that prioritizes efficiency over depth. In a fast-paced world, nobody has the time or the obligation to dig through a mountain of rocks to see if there is a diamond inside. They just walk over to the shiny object that is already sitting on the surface. We live in an era where the visual signal is the only signal that matters. You feel this rejection in your bones when you walk into a room. You see the way her eyes glide over you like you are part of the furniture. You see the way her pupils dilate when the handsome waiter walks by. It makes you feel small and it makes you feel powerless. You start to question your own worth as a human being. You start to wonder if there is something fundamentally broken inside you that makes you unlovable. But I am here to tell you that you are not broken. You are simply invisible. The reason you are invisible is not because you lack substance. It's because you are fighting against millions of years of evolutionary hardwiring and a social evaluation system that is ruthless. You are bringing a resume to a gunfight. You are trying to negotiate with logic in a room that is run by instinct. Until you understand the code behind this biological lock, you will remain on the outside looking in. You will remain the friend who gives advice but never gets the girl. You will remain the guy who is described as nice but never as desired. But what if I told you that this mechanism has an aim and a function that you can analyze? What if I told you that the reason she rejects you is not a random choice, but a predictable psychological pattern? To understand how to stop this cycle of rejection, we first have to dissect the machine that is crushing you. The mechanism that is currently keeping you locked in a cage of invisibility is a fundamental biological concept known as cognitive economy. To understand why you are losing the game of love, you have to first understand the operating system of the human brain. Your brain is a biological machine that weighs roughly 3 pounds but consumes nearly 20% of your daily energy intake. Its primary directive is not to find the truth or to be fair or to discover hidden gems. Its primary directive is to keep you alive and to conserve fuel for potential threats. Because of this evolutionary mandate, your brain treats deep thinking and complex analysis like a dangerous luxury expense. It is constantly scanning the environment for corners to cut in pathways that offer the least amount of resistance. When a woman meets you for the first time, her brain is making 1,000 calculations per second. She is not trying to be mean, she is simply trying to be efficient. To stop and analyze your complex inner world in your childhood trauma and your unique sense of humor requires a massive amount of glucose. It requires her to engage her prefrontal cortex, which is the slow and expensive analytical engine of the brain. But scanning your face and your posture and your grooming takes a fraction of a calorie. It is a prepackaged shortcut that bypasses the executive functions almost entirely. This brings us to the first critical psychological concept known as the primacy effect, which was identified by the psychologist Abraham Lutyens. Lutyens discovered that the human brain places a disproportionate amount of weight on the very first piece of information it receives. In the context of dating, the first piece of information is never your voice or your philosophy. It is always the visual data of your physical existence. Within the first 7 seconds of seeing you, her brain has already built a complete scaffolding of who you are. If that first brick in the wall is negative, the entire structure that follows will be unstable. She effectively writes the conclusion of your story before she has even read the first chapter. Let us explore this with a hypothetical story about two men named Julian and Michael. Julian is genetically gifted with a symmetrical face and a strong jawline, and he carries himself with an easy physical grace. Michael is shorter and has a receding hairline and wears clothes that are slightly too large for his frame. They both go on a date with the same woman, and they both decide to stay silent for the first 10 minutes. They both just sit there sipping their coffee and looking out the window. This is where the second and most devastating concept comes into play, which is the halo effect coined by Edward Thorndike. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where one positive trait overrides all other traits and paints a golden light around a person. Because Julian is physically attractive, the woman looks at his silence and her brain scrambles to justify it with positive rebukes. She thinks he is brooding and introspective and deep. She imagines that he is thinking about art or philosophy or complex emotional landscapes. His silence becomes a mystery that she wants to solve, and it pulls her in like gravity. She feels a spike of dopamine just by looking at him because his symmetry signals health and genetic fitness. He is providing her with emotional value simply by existing in her field of vision. Now she looks at Michael, who is doing the exact same thing. But Michael does not have the halo, he has the horn effect, which is the evil twin of the halo. Because his visual signal is weak or negative, her brain fills in the silence with negativity. She thinks his silence is awkward and creepy and dull. She assumes he has nothing to say because he looks like he has nothing to offer. She feels a subtle spike of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, because his lack of social calibration feels like a mild threat. She checks her phone and looks for an exit strategy. It is the exact same behavior, but it yields to completely different interpretations based solely on the wrapper. This explains why your persistence and your kindness often backfire in such a painful way. When Julian sends a text asking how her day was, she views it through the lens of the halo. She thinks it is sweet and attentive and charming. But when you send the exact same text, she views it through the lens of the horn. She thinks it is intrusive and desperate and annoying. Because she has already categorized you as low value, her brain interprets your attempts to get close as a violation of her boundaries. You are not being romantic, you are being a pest. You are the fly buzzing around her head that she wants to swat away. There is also a deeper layer to this rejection called implicit self-image matching. Every human being has a subconscious blueprint of who they are, and they are constantly scanning for a partner who mirrors that status. A woman who spends an hour on her makeup and curates her outfits and goes to the gym is signaling a specific set of values. She values discipline and aesthetics and social presentation. If you show up with messy hair and wrinkled clothes and dry skin, you are not just unattractive to her. You are a fundamental mismatch to her identity. It creates a psychological wall called the compatibility gap. She looks at you and she does not just see a guy who is not handsome. She sees a guy who does not care about the things she cares about. She sees a lack of self-awareness and a lack of hygiene and a lack of effort. Her brain screams that you are not from the same tribe. You might think you are being authentic by not caring about your looks. You might tell yourself that you are above such superficial things. But she interprets it as a sign of disrespect. She thinks that if you cannot even take care of your own face, how could you possibly take care of her heart? The tragedy of the modern age is that we have industrialized this sorting process. Dating apps have turned human beings into products on a digital shelf. When she is swiping left and right, she is operating entirely on the lizard brain. She is making binary decisions based on pixels and lighting. Your inner beauty is the software, but your appearance is the hardware. If the hardware looks broken or outdated, nobody is going to bother installing the software to see if it works. You are standing outside the club with the VIP pass in your pocket, but the bouncer will not let you in because you are wearing the wrong shoes. You have been trying to win a visual game with verbal tools. You have been trying to write your way into her heart when she is reading the pictures. You have been bringing a poem to a fashion show. You are confused why nobody is clapping. But this is not a hopeless situation. This is simply a matter of understanding the rules of the game you are playing. Now that we have stripped away the lies and looked at the cold hard machinery of the halo effect, we can stop crying about it. We can stop feeling sorry for ourselves, and we can start hacking the system. We can use the science of perception to reverse engineer the signal you are sending to the world. We can build a new visual floor that allows your personality to finally stand up and be seen. You do not need to be born a model to escape the invisible man syndrome. You just need to understand how to clean the lens that the world uses to view you. You have the power to change the narrative, but you have to be willing to destroy your old identity to do it. We are going to shatter the insulation that is keeping you only and invisible. You cannot change the genetics you were born with, but you can absolutely hack the halo effect to work in your favor. You need to stop betting on your personality to save you from a bad first impression, because that is a losing bet. You must build a visual floor that allows your personality to actually be seen by the world. Here are the 3 radical shifts to turn the invisible man into a contender in the arena of love. The first mental shift is the visual hygiene protocol. Most men are not actually ugly, they are just extremely low resolution. You are failing the primacy effect not because of your bone structure, but because of your chaotic presentation. Women are detectives of detail, and they scan for clues that you miss. They look at the dirt under your fingernails and the scuff marks on your shoes and the fit of your shirt at the shoulder. If your clothes are baggy, you look small and defeated like a child wearing his father's suit. If your hair is unkempt and greasy, you look chaotic and unmanageable. You must treat your appearance as a form of manners. Looking put together is not vanity, it is self-respect made visible to the world. You need to go to a professional barber and pay for a haircut that actually frames your face shape. You need to throw away every single piece of clothing that does not fit you perfectly or that has a stain. You need to start a skincare routine that makes your face look intentional rather than accidental. When you tighten your visual signal, you stop triggering the horn effect in her brain. You do not need to be a male model to pass this test. You just need to pass the threshold of this man takes care of himself and he has high standards. When you look disciplined, people automatically assume you are disciplined in all areas of your life. They assume you are competent and reliable and safe. This is how you manufacture your own halo. The second shift is the context migration strategy. You must get off the dating apps immediately because they are killing your soul. Dating apps are pure visual arenas where you are fighting a losing battle against the top 1% of genetic lottery winners. You are trying to sell a complex novel in a bookstore that only sells comic books. You need to move the battlefield to a terrain where you have the tactical advantage. This means meeting people in shared interest environments where the clock works in your favor. You need to join a run club, or a pottery class, or a volunteer group, or a hiking team. In these spaces, the primacy effect is diluted by time and proximity and shared struggle. When you see someone every week for a month, the flash judgment fades away. Your personality has time to seep through the cracks of her defense mechanism. This utilizes a psychological concept called the mere exposure effect. Familiarity breeds attraction and safety. If you are funny and kind and helpful in a run club for 6 weeks, she will start to find you physically attractive, even if she did not at first. Her brain rewires itself to associate your face with the dopamine of a good joke or the oxytocin of a shared experience. You are bypassing the bouncer at the front door and sneaking in through the side entrance where the VIP list does not matter. You are allowing your software to shine because you have given the hardware a chance to be ignored. The third shift is the pre-selection hack. Women are social creatures who rely heavily on the opinions and signals of other women. If you are always standing alone in the corner, you look like a risk that nobody wants to take. But if you are seen laughing with other women or being respected by other men, you gain instant value. This is called social proof, and it is the most powerful currency in the dating market. You need to stop chasing one girl like a hunter and start building a tribe like a king. Focus on building a wide social circle of friends, including platonic female friends. When a new girl sees that other women feel safe and happy around you, her biological alarm system turns off. Her brain says if those women trust him, then he must be a good man. It creates a synthetic halo effect around you that has nothing to do with your jawline. You become the prize rather than the pursuer. You need to kill the nice guy identity who waits for permission to speak. Stop apologizing for your existence and stop buying gifts to buy affection. Invest that money in your gym membership and your wardrobe and your passions. Become a man who is so interesting and so busy living a good life that he does not need to beg for attention. The moment you stop needing her validation is the moment you become attractive to her. Desperation smells like rot, but independence smells like rain. You must become the protagonist of your own movie instead of the supporting character in hers. When you build a life that you are proud of, you radiate a specific kind of energy that cannot be faked. It is the energy of a man who knows his worth and does not need a mirror to prove it. The world is visual, and that is a cold, hard fact that we cannot change. But you are not a victim of your face, and you are not a prisoner of your genetics. You are the architect of your own presentation and the director of your own scene. Polish the surface so that they have a reason to look inside the vault. Do not let the biological filter you out of existence before you have even begun to live. Step up and clear the static and let them see who you really are. The world is waiting for you to show up, but you have to dress for the occasion. It is time to walk out of the shadows and into the light. Stand tall and look them in the eye and let them see the man you have built.